Queen Alicia's in the house. Like a ding dong. But hello and welcome and good evening. It's going to be a very monumental webinar for me. It's and you know what? If Bob wants to come over, bring Bob too. I need friends tonight.
Okay.
I need friends. I don't know if Duke made it on. I know he was coming. But if you, Kathy, maybe even Edward, if he wants to, or you can message him or see if he wants to.
Yeah.
But Kathy, you know, we'll bring him over. But for those of you that are here tonight, I'm assuming that most of you have been here once or twice, somewhere along the line, over the last 6 years of doing webinars and calls at 9 p.m. or 9:27 p.m. Eastern on Monday. We've been doing them for years and years and years. We coined the term webinars gone wild probably about 5 years ago, and we have been having a ball with it ever since. I try to be here almost every Monday. Into the blue moon, we shut down. There's a holiday or I'm on a trip. But generally,
or we have a hurricane. Or hurricane.
Oh, yeah, those gosh darn hurricanes, you know, lack of power thing. Although we have done them through some crazy situations. And we've done them on crazy nights and all kinds of stuff going on. But tonight is landmark because we are wrapping up the series. Guys, I'm over at Facebook.com/Diane Hochman Training. Facebook.com/Diane Hochman Training. If anybody wants to give a shout out or make comments, I love when you guys write to me here. Please, by the way, ignore this spammy guy who spammed me twice, but whenever I hit delete, it just won't go away. He must have some secret. I've tried to ban him. I've tried to delete him. So everybody, whatever you do, do not buy anything from the guy who spammed my wall. But if you write me there, a shout out, and then you know, as we get down the line, some of you guys might have questions or different things. Happy to answer them. So let's get down to, first of all, let's see who we have over here. We have three of them are boycotting me. Okay, I see how it is.
Yes, 3 are boycotting, or they're just sleeping.
I should have brought cat treats, and then I could have gotten them all to come around.
There you go.
So, terrific. We have I know, right? It will start outside at 5 o'clock here. It is kind of weird with the time change. But then again, it's all cool because before you know it, it'll be Christmas time, and you blink and it's springtime, and then we're back around the clock again. We have Bob Clark back fresh from Dallas with Vanessa. Bob, are you there?
I have the lights on, I have the heat on, and a smile on my face.
There we go. Beautiful. Bob lives in New Jersey, of course, hit pretty bad by Storm Sandy, and he lived to tell the tales of it. Are the lights on all across Manhattan, or is there still parts of Manhattan with no lights?
No, there's a lot of people still out.
Yeah, it's funky. I know my in-laws, Duke Romke was made the presenter. I'm no longer the presenter. What's up with that?
I clicked the wrong button.
Yeah, apparently. Get that Duke at it. Come on.
Take over, Duke. Take over.
I'm giving it back to you.
Thank you, Kathy. See, I let them touch the buttons, and I let them touch show screen. Thank you. I let them touch the buttons.
Thanks for letting me feel special for a moment.
I know, for 2 seconds. You want to be the presenter? You can be the presenter, you know. But, and then you guys can hear Duke Romke's here. Duke, what's going on?
Just trying to control my mixed feelings about tonight.
There you go. He's taking over, starting. And then Kathy also grabbed. I'm just looking to make sure. Ed, are you on?
Ed's here.
I am here.
One of my dearest old. And Regards to you, and if I tell Jillian you're on the line, she'll come running up and sing your name, so I won't do that.
All right, I'll send her a message.
Yeah, there you go. Send her a message on Facebook right now. I'm on the webinar with Mom. Come up and say hello. She'll come running up.
Right.
So, Ed has been here to Connecticut a couple times. He's gotten to meet my kids, and one of them, for whatever reason, just thinks Edward is the coolest guy she has ever met, ever.
That's because she's intelligent and intuitive, because Edward is a cool guy.
Well, he clearly is, but I mean, he's extremely cool, but is he the coolest ever?
Well, she's young.
Okay, yeah, she hasn't gotten around yet.
No offense, Edward.
No,
All good.
I knew he knew that that I wasn't sending offense his way. I'm sure his daughter thinks he's both the coolest guy ever and also not, because that's what daughters do. And she's right at that age. And then she'll come back around and she'll go through a phase of you are the bestest ever. So it's all
awesome.
cool. So guys, what I want to do tonight is we're going to reminisce a little, have a little fun, but I also want to tell you a story about some things that are going on with my career that I'm really, really excited about. And I'm just looking down the list of people that are here. I'm already getting choked, Kathy. I'm just looking down, and the reason why I didn't announce earlier on, oh, Bruce is here too. You know, I'm just looking down. I didn't announce this earlier on because I knew I couldn't handle it. Okay. And I wanted to do something real special, and truthfully, I only wanted certain people to show up. And if I promoted it too much or had a bunch of people promote it, then, you know, it wouldn't be who I hoped for. So I knew that if I put the word out, certain people would show up, and I can see that you guys all have, and I love each and every one of you. So I want to tell you a story, but I want to tell you a whole story tonight. First of all, by a show of hands, how many of you guys have known me for more than 2 years? If you would raise your hand if you've known me for more than 2 years, it would be really great. Let me scroll down and see what we got here. Of course, Bruce known me like forever. Brian's known me forever. Yeah, I see a lot of people don't.
Some of these names are bringing tears to my eyes, Diane.
I know, to see them. Yep.
Yeah,
Ed, yep.
Here,
Yep.
Hey,
Yep.
Jules.
Yep.
Wow.
We'll bring Jules out in a little bit if she wants to. Jules known me since the beginning. I mean, she's been around since the beginning. So Larry, so many people.
Tom.
Wow, Masood, it's good to see you. Wonderful. Well, here's, I want to tell you guys a story about basically my transition in this industry. I started out in 1999. A lot of you guys know. In fact, everybody makes fun of me for the way I tell the story. I started in 1999, and I was broke. How broke were you? I was really, really broke. I was so broke that Mr. Visa and Mr. MasterCard were calling me day and night, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I started in traditional network marketing business, in a traditional, exceptionally traditional network marketing company. I sat in the back of the room, and I said, I think I can do this. I didn't say I think I could do this. I said, I'm going to do this.
Yep.
And I really immersed myself because I came to learn very early on. In fact, let's lay it all out. Kathy, I'm just going to lay everything out tonight. Is that cool?
I think you should, hon. I think you should.
Okay. I mean, we'll close it. I'm not recording this. Nobody else is getting it. So whoever showed up tonight, you'll hear this. Whoever didn't, doesn't. But I started in Herbalife. A lot of people know that. And thanks to the good sense of Mark Hughes, the founder of that company, God rest his soul, he put a lot of emphasis development mentor for all of us. And I spent a lot of time on Jim's materials. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm constantly quoting him. And I actually did have the pleasure and the privilege of spending time with Jim at all different leadership events and things. And I figured out very early on that the thing that would keep from where I wanted to go was not money, because a lot of people think they need money to build their business, and it was not, you know, technical skills. Back then we weren't even talking about technical skills because it was just the verge. You know, the internet was really just starting to become a play in network marketing. It wasn't all the different things that most people think it is, how much, you know, you could spend on advertising or what kind of copywriter you were. It was my mind. And I knew that my mind had put me where I was, which that had led me there. And I learned that it was my mind that would get me out. And during my time with Herbalife, somebody had recommended a tip set from Randy Gage. I hope now he has like a really expensive one, but a less expensive one, I think it's like $77 or something, which back then was like a gazillion dollars to me. The idea of buying a tape set for $77 was insane to me. I now regularly buy $2,000, $3,000, $10,000 training programs. So the idea of buying a $77 tape set was crazy. But I bought this tape set called Prosperity. Actually, I'm laying it all out. The truth is I bought it off of eBay for about 20 bucks. I didn't even pay Randy the 77. And if any of you guys know Randy, I'm looking to get to know him personally. I know I'll get to introduce to him through the Home Business Radio Network or somewhere, but I owe him like 50 bucks. So, because now I understand what having products and selling your intellectual property is, and I so ripped Randy Gage off, so I owe him 50 bucks. And I do, and I'm dying to give it to him. In fact, I think when I meet him, I'm going to hand him cash, and he'll be like looking at me like I'm weird, and I'll tell him why. Right? You know,
That's
it's
right.
probably the right thing. I mean, again, I didn't understand it at the time. I knew I needed the tapes. I was broke, and, you know, I'm sure he's glad I had them. But in any case, on Randy's particular set of tapes, he did a funny talk, and he's always a very funny guy, and then he goes right to the root of the matter, and he said, look, who was at the scene of every crime? Who caused this? Who did it? Who spent the money that you didn't have? Who ate the food that you didn't need? Who, you know, burnt the relationships that you wish you had now? Who was there every single time? You can blame everybody, or you can take personal responsibility. And Jim Rohn would talk about you can't blame the government. Everybody's blaming the government right now, election tomorrow. Everybody's screaming and yelling about all this stuff. I mean, I actually watched an audience boo Barbara Streisand this weekend.
Yeah.
I will tell you about the Barbara Streisand concert in a minute. But I watched an audience boo because they're so angry politically. You can't blame the government because it's all you got. You can't blame the economy because it's all you got. And all these philosophies were flooding into me, and they were going into my little mind, and it was little at the time. And they started to expand the size of my mind and the size of my being and the size of my consciousness. And I was exploding with these messages in my heart, in my soul. I delved into Proverbs. I delved into every personal development book I could find. I was reading Stephen Covey and Wayne Dyer and old stuff, Marcus Aurelius, and, you know, the science of getting rich and Think and Grow Rich. And, you know, I was just consuming information on the mind. Ernest Holmes. I was consuming it voraciously. I was eating this stuff up like my mind had never been fed, because to a large extent it never had, and I was hungry. Because once I had a taste of it, I'll never remember when I was working. I worked at a college, and my dean did a training, and he was using Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And at the end of the talk, I literally lunged across the room and begged him to loan me the book until I could buy one. And he gave it to me. And that was my first taste. And then when I got into this industry, and it was everywhere for me, I was voracious about it. And I became fairly successful over at Herbalife. You know, I was doing well. I was making some money. I just saw Elise, and I don't know what kind of, what her, every week Elise tells us what size her baby, her growing baby in her belly is. And I know he was a grapefruit, and I don't know what he's up to now. I don't know if you've seen Kath, but I'll ask her after. I want to know how big he is right now. So in any case, I became obsessed with this stuff and became fairly successful and was doing good and was making a full-time living selling stuff, and had started to learn about the internet. And I met the man whose books and tapes I had bought years before. The first marketing set I ever bought came from a guy called Joe Schroeder. And that book was all about what we today call attraction marketing. He called it quick link marketing. And that turned me on to Dan Kennedy and all this other stuff that I went out and studied. And it taught me how to attract leads, and it taught me how to remove the struggle from my business. And I did that for years. And then I met him in 2005. And I met him in August 2005 by an accident. Because what happened, and again, some of you know the story, but a whole bunch of you don't, so just hang tight with me because there's a real important message in it. By accident, because he had basically left the industry for a while. And I went to a seminar, met a man named Dave Ledoux. Some of you guys know him. He's a major network marketer. Was one of the top earners at USANA for years. I'm not sure where he is now, but in any case, Dave and I had a conversation. We brought up Joe. I went home and Googled him and found out he had just written his first article in years. And that week we got on the phone and we talked like we had known each other for our whole lives, and talked about books and tapes we had listened to and all this marketing, and he was stunned with what I had done with his training and stuff like that. And in my heart, I knew that I had a shot then. I knew that something special was about to happen, and he was starting a website, and he invited me. Guys, for those of you that know me for a long time and that know Joe, I'm going to tell a whole story tonight because I have to. Because I have to release something so that I move to the next phase of my career. And I have his blessing to tell the story. But some of you guys, if you know Joe, be prepared. So in any case, he started a website, and I helped him with that website, and that website failed. Unfortunately, the marketing that he had done in the past, times had changed. It just didn't convert. It didn't work well. And a lot of the guys that knew him from back in the day, because he's just a lot of his work, a lot of the guys who came around originally to start to help him because they were excited because they all lined up to make money with him, when it didn't work right, they all just left. And they left him behind, a man who had taught them an awful lot, and they left him behind. But I couldn't. And I stood by his side, and we created something called the Million Mind March. And I'll just put up a little picture of one of our logos there. And that Million Mind March lasted from 2006 to, at its last breath, about 2 years ago. So it lasted about 5 years, 4 or 5 years. And during that time period, because I wasn't strong enough, because I wasn't known enough, because I didn't see myself completely then, we worked under the auspices of Joe, his name and his entity. But what was going on in the background was that I had created the name, I had created the concepts and the ideas behind it. I wanted to create, and some people might be getting offended now because they're thinking, how can you say that? I'm just telling you the truth. I wanted to create a utopia that were broke and scared, that were in the back of the opportunity meeting, could come to find out that there was something inside of them and that they could be successful and they could become something and they could make all the money they wanted to make And they could do all the things they dreamed of doing. And it wasn't a reality just for other people, but it could be a reality for them. I wanted a place where people could make money, and that's where Joe came in, because Joe had the products and the books and the tapes. And I wanted a place where I could help teach people all I had learned, and that the answer stood in their mind. And I coined the phrase that was, change your mind, change your income, change your life. And we used that phrase as our catchphrase for years. Now, at peak, we got to so many people, and it went pretty well. But there were always some problems, because Joe would, and by the way, guys, I have the deepest respect and love for this man, so please listen. And Joe would sabotage things with weird pay plans and weird stuff, and he would change things overnight. So we'd have something that would be working really well, and then he'd wake up one morning and decide to change things. I would plead and beg with him because we had momentum. And I remember the way I started doing all these phone calls was that I would just be a girl that said, say your name and where you're calling from. People would come, we'd have calls every night, and I'd go, say your name and where you're calling from, and be the perky girl at the beginning of the call. You guys all know who that girl is, the one, hi, welcome to the call. And then one day, Joe just called me and said, I don't feel like doing calls anymore. I'm going to go write a book. And I said, well, you can't leave now. We have all these people, and they're counting on us, and we have all this excitement and all this going on. And he said, well, I'm not doing calls. You can do them if you want. And that's when I started doing the calls 4 nights a week. And I am so thankful for that time period, because I became exceptionally skilled. I became a really good speaker, I think. I don't know. Maybe I wasn't. Maybe I was. But 4 nights a week I was doing the calls. And then one night he accidentally got on the call and realized, hey, this kid can talk, and started working together on all this stuff. But again, it was always a constant struggle, and I worked very, very hard to keep that organization together. Fast forward, and it was very special, and it was very wonderful, and for those of you that were a part of it, you know that there were magical nights. We didn't want it to end, and we'd stay up till, right, Kathy, 3 o'clock. You know, we'd sometimes be on the phone from 9 o'clock at night till 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
I know Bruce is listening. He remembers. And we didn't want to leave because it was magical, because Joe really was a magical man. And but unfortunately, there was always something, and I could never figure out what it was that was stopping the growth of that organization. He'd always kibosh anything that was working. He'd always switch anything that was working. He'd always behave erratically. And we got to a point 2 years ago and yeah, Kathy's crying. Here we go. And come to find out that he just couldn't do it anymore. He had some issues. And the reason that he was he wasn't consciously sabotaging the stuff. He just had stuff going on, and he really couldn't handle a lot of people being around, and he couldn't handle them. This is a man who built multiple multi-million-dollar downlines and who changed a lot of lives, and a lot of people don't even realize the headlines that you've read over the years. He was the means to stand up and stop it. He didn't understand the internet. He didn't understand a lot of things. And I stood by him as long as I possibly could. And even when he got sick, covered for him and told everybody he was writing and everything, hoping and praying that he might come back, because I loved that organization so much. The idea that it would go away, and most of all the idea that I wouldn't be able to teach and do what I know I was born to do, to speak them about themselves and to teach them marketing, but marketing from a standpoint, a place of goodness and wholeness and service, servanthood marketing, where we reach out and we reach into people and show them what is possible for them, not to possess them, not to earn off of their backs, but to take people and transform them into that which they could be, knowing that income, and I so truly believe this in the bottom of my heart and the bottom of my toes, money is all around you. That was my line. He took it. Money is all around you. You just can't see it. See, what people didn't realize is for a lot of years, I was loading the lips of a man who was struggling. He was struggling, and he was hurting. And we wrote those books together. But he couldn't do it anymore. And without him, because it was based on his name and his image, when the Million Mind March fell, and it had to fall, mostly because I had to walk away because he was so erratic and unpredictable from a business standpoint, I just couldn't be there. When the Million Mind March fell, it broke my heart. And I had to go out and find a place for my people and a home for my people, and I did, and I found fine homes and fine marketing organizations, and I'm very proud to represent the companies that I have chosen, and I'm very proud of all those that chose to stick with me. A lot of people didn't understand what I was doing. They thought I was turning on people. They thought I was cheating on people. They thought I was evil. I have one person who literally walks around the internet calling me Satan. Satan. So I thought I would tell the true story of what happened about me loving a man and an ideal so much that I stood by it, stood through it, and tried to serve the people that were there as much as I humanly could. Why am I telling the story tonight? Why is it so serious and so heavy? It's supposed to be a webinar gone wild. We're supposed to giggle and have fun and laugh, which we will in a few minutes. The reason why is because a couple of weeks ago, a person walked into my life, a person who, ironically, I've known since 2008 because he was among the many that passed through my calls over all those years. I mean, I've had many, many, many people crawl out of the woodwork, and I'm so blessed to have many of them call me a mentor and tell me that I've carried them through nights and times, and people tell me that they listen to my CDs and audios, and they've lifted them, and that was my goal. Many of these people don't do business with me because they're in different venues. But if I could have anything to do with their path, their consciousness, helping them become better entrepreneurs, better people, human beings, and if I could impact them, I've always said, I've said it on a million calls during that Million Mind March time period, that if I could impact one person, I didn't get to impact one because I impacted their children and their grandchildren and every person who hears their voice. Because the words that fall from their lips, if I had any impact on them whatsoever, I have done my job. And I've been blessed to help influence many people who have become influential. And a week ago, one of those people has an organization of over 50,000 people, and it's rapidly growing. And that person said, I want you to come, and I want you to do what you did. I want you to come here, and I want you to be that voice, and I want you to run those calls. Entrepreneurs, and also existing entrepreneurs that need to understand and remember what business and life is all about. And he said, Diane, I need you to come, I want you to come, and I want you to be a part of this family, and I want you to speak into the hearts and souls of people and bring them up. But those calls have to be on a Monday. And so I had to make a choice. about whether to continue on the path I was on or shift my path, but really in a large way return home back to what I originally started. I knew I was born to do back in 2005. And I said, yes, I want to do this more than anything. So tonight is the end of Webinars Gone Wild. And tonight is the end of an era where, one, I pay homage to a man named Joe Shorter who gave me all he could. He gave me all he could, all he had. He put into me the legacy of his work that he could no longer do. And I miss him dearly. I pay homage to him, but I also open up to a world of possibility, a world of potential, and a world where I will be back in the saddle again. Now, this particular home that I found, and by the way, for those of you that are wondering, I am not leaving anything that I am already doing. I am not changing my programs. I am not changing anything that I am involved with. I am not swinging the pendulum. People always get worried, ooh, what is she doing? What is she doing? You know, if you want to go on the internet and gossip, run, go. Obligated to go into that pulpit. So this particular company, which I'm not going to discuss on this call, but many of you have received, you know, afterwards, if any of you guys want to come and hear about it, you're welcome to, does have a spectacular pay plan, does have a spectacular automation, does have all the things that we wanted to give people. You see, me giving you mind without giving you an opportunity to have prosperity and earn income, it doesn't work for me. So it had to be both. And I'm just excited to be going back to where I belong and where I see the names that are on this call tonight. Many of you started with me, and you know that you belong in that environment. And for those of you that know me more recently, for example, Duke and I were talking before, and Duke and I worked very closely. And I told him, I said, Duke, you've never seen me like this. You've never seen me doing. See, I can talk about attraction marketing and video marketing and all this stuff all day long. I love it. But if you haven't figured out by now, none of that will change your life if you don't change your mind.
That's right.
None of it will give you what you want. Because until you can see the money, people call me up, and Kathy, you can corroborate this. People will call me up, and they'll be like struggling on something. And I'll go, well, do this, this, and this. Money's sitting right there. Yeah. Kathy, how many times have I done it to you or somebody else?
A lot.
This, and this. The money's sitting right there.
Yeah.
Because the money, if you can see it, is sitting right there. The love that you want is sitting right there. The prosperity, everything that you want is sitting right in front of you. And it's only your mind blocking you from accessing it, from getting at it, from getting near it. And I've watched person after person when they tap this. I mean, the reason why I asked Kathy to bring Edward over is because Edward tapped things about himself and then traveled to Japan to share information with people on the other side of the world about stuff he was an expert in. Mm-hmm. He tapped it. So many people sit and struggle for years and years and years. And I can show you a hot pay plan. I have one. But tonight's not here to tell you about that, by the way. Please, I wanted to bring together my loyalists, the nosy. Right, Kathy? People are nosy.
Yes, they are.
And people that want to be part of the new chapter of my career, whether or not you choose to get involved in what I'm doing, because the cool thing is that I make sure that these calls will be available to everybody. Because I do not believe on discriminating against sharing my message based upon whether somebody has a dime in their pocket, because I didn't. And I had those Randy Gage tapes on eBay, and I used to steal John Milton Fogg's conference calls. I used to hack into his site because I didn't have money to pay his $10 a month membership. And I can't tell you how many leaders in this industry either did to pay that back. My turn to be a guiding light for those people that are coming down the road. Speaking of another one that I mentioned that I honor so much, Dale Calvert, who recently has been in the hospital. Some of you guys know Dale, had some health problems, and God bless Dale. We're thinking of you. I don't know how many times I spent on his tapes, how many hours on videotapes. I keep a VCR just to watch certain videotapes of these fine leaders that inspired me to chase after my dream. So, up now and have a little fun, and maybe if any of you guys have a story or anything to tell about these Monday nights, I love it. Or if people, you know, I'm going to look at the Facebook page now, but I truly love each forever. You know, people always knew that I'd be here, and they'd come and they'd go, but they knew I'd be here. And I dare all of you, as you move forward with the programs and the things that you're into, I dare you, become a rock for people. Decide that you will go. Decide that you will do. Decide that you will train your mind, train your body, train your spirit. Decide. Guys, I've been in off of me that needed me to be around. I hope you all decide to become that person. Joe's words, become someone for, regardless of whether you make a buck off of them.
That's right.
Because I have to promise you, if anything I know, money does not move in a linear direction. And he's not involved with something with me. Two people will show up on the side from a different direction that I least expected. I didn't expect this opportunity to come into my life. I had no idea how much I impacted this man that in 2008, one of the biggest players in the game. We were at an event in Dallas a couple weeks ago. The whole event and every big cheese in the industry was all over this guy.
Yep.
Who knows who you're impacting with your words, with your voice, with your videos, with your teleconferences? Who cares if only 3 people show up? Back when I started, there was nobody. I did it anyway. Kathy, how many Mondays have we done where we had either a huge crowd? If I wrote a sexy headline about how you were going to get rich, everybody would show up. If I wrote something about the mind, nobody would show up.
That's right.
It's like clockwork. When I was teaching the important stuff, they wouldn't come. When I was teaching the sexy get-rich-quick stuff, everybody would show up.
That's right.
It's like the get-rich-quick hamster wheel. It's incredible. You have words or?
Oh gosh, my heart is so full right now, Diane. And you rightly heard me crying. The march, you're right, was a very magical place. It was a place where a lot of us were able to get in touch with exactly who we are and to stand up in the fullness of ourselves. I look at my desk right now, you know, behind my computer monitor, and I've got little sticky notes all over the place with quotations and sayings from the march. Be somebody for somebody. Who you refuse to be is responsible for all that you don't have. I mean, just all of this is all around me. And if it wasn't for that environment, that safe environment where we could come and stand up and just be who we were with no fear of anybody laughing at us or judging us or pointing a finger at us, and learn how to be, and it sounds cliche, I know it does, but how to be the person that we were born to be. That's what the Million Mind March gave so many people, myself included. And I, for one, have so missed those calls that went on for 2, 3, 4 hours, you know, hang up, dial back in 5 minutes because the line's getting noisy, we're going to clear the line, and then we'd stay on until 1:30 in the morning.
So by the way, that
and,
was my technique. I want you to know that. That was my technique.
I'm sure it was. Yeah, everybody,
like they're all noisy and I can't understand. I'm like, clear the line, man. Get rid of them.
Okay, everybody mute your line, hit *6, and once you mute your line, say your name, and then you'd hear Barbara. You know, it's like, Barbara, your line's not muted.
This is back before we had all this. You know what? One of the reasons why I'm so happy, Kathy, that I'm going back to conference calls, I will be doing calls, not webinars, is, and I know all of you guys have experienced this in your careers, the call is when everybody comes on at the beginning and it's say your name and where you're calling from, and everybody be screaming and yelling and be so excited, and then there's some guy with, you know, the calls, and with these webinars, I always feel like there's a wall between me and the people, and I hate that. So I'm looking forward to getting back to the frenzy of a call and the portability of calls. I'm going to go back to a lot of calls because when we're doing just webinars, we're chained. We're chained. One of my favorite things was I'd hook my phone on me and I'd pace around. And my energy would be so high, or I'd be out wherever. Sometimes I'd drive out, believe it or not, I'd drive out and do conference calls. I'd open my sunroof, it was a starry night, and I'd sit out in the dark, and I'd do conference calls. And
I don't think I was ever sitting down during a march call, regardless of how long they went on. I was constantly walking and pacing, and they were so energetic. You know, it brings to mind Think and Grow Rich, the chapter on mastermind groups, on the power of a mastermind, and that's what happens, is that energy just kind of feeds on itself, and it's 1:30 in the morning, and there ain't no way in God's green earth you're going to go to sleep because you're just so full of this positive energy, and we need that. We need that.
Have you ever, any of you guys, been in a place in your life where you knew something was falling apart and you were trying? I mean, think about like here, when the weather gets really bad, our basement floods, and Larry will frantically try to fight it. He'll be there with a wet vac and a this and that, and he'll be trying to fight the water that starts to seep in. And then you get to a point where you know you can't fight it anymore.
Right.
That's what the end of all of it was like. And, you know, it was hard.
Yeah, it was.
And the idea that we can do that again. People want to get paid, they can. If they just want to hang out, they can. I like both ways. I like that people can access income through the concept and the idea, but people also, there's often people that for a myriad of reasons can't access that. You know, I was one of those people, so I can't deny that.
I was in the beginning too.
So, in any case, I don't know if anybody else so just so you know. And guys, Edward was such a, I'm so glad you're here tonight, Ed, because Edward was such a big part of my time and my growth. A very special person in my life. His whole family is held dear in my heart, so it's good to hear your voice here tonight.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So for those of you that are on my email list or on the list of some of my colleagues, I am doing a little huddle after this call. Many of you guys have the number. I didn't want to do a conference call or a webinar and close out and then be popping links and everything else. I think that's just not classy. But I do think some of you might like to hear about what we're up to, what I'm up to, and so on. If you haven't received that number and want to come over, we're meeting at 10 Eastern. You just need to shoot me or the person that invited you here an email. Mine is Diane at dianehochman.com. If you were invited here by somebody, you should have an email from them or find them on Facebook and direct message them. They can give you the phone number. But I just really want to, first of all of you guys that wrote in notes and everything, I appreciate all you guys. Thank you. Carlos is here. That's cool. Bob, it's good, not Bob Clark, but Bob Yeager. Good to see you here. It's a pleasure to have you on. Steve Murray, see, there's another person that knows. Bill. So all of you guys, I appreciate all of you. Dean, you've been here the whole time since the very beginning. You've seen a lot of stuff, and a lot of good stuff, a lot of crazy stuff. So I'm ready to do it all over again if anybody else wants to be a part of helping people find themselves, find their power, find their magic. It's an oscillation. Jeff taught me early on. In fact, it was in his course, and before I even knew him. He said, if you just raise your energy 5% above everybody else, people will be attracted to you, and they won't know why. It's the simplicity of these concepts that he handed to me that I'm the carrier of, as well as Jim Rohn, as well as so many others. It's the simplicity of these concepts that I always think is fascinating, because people struggle so hard, and the answer is simple. When you raise your energy 5% above everybody else's, people will be magically attracted to you, and they won't even know why. Anybody can do these things. And it's when we lose the self-doubt, we lose the blame inside of ourselves, and when we lose the third grade teacher that told us we weren't good enough, or the dad who never thought our report card was good enough, or the teacher that didn't understand that we had ADHD. Nobody knew I had ADHD, and I was given messages my whole life that there was something wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with any of you. It's just a matter of learning who you are and then working within the systems of your mind. My mind is insane. You all know that. Duke can attest to it. All you guys can. Vanessa can attest to it. I'm crazy. Thank God I figured out how to be crazy and make a living. And I dare say that most of the people that are attracted to this type of message in my voice, generally you're crazy. Kathy's crazy, that I know.
I'm absolutely whacked. But you know what, Diane?
What's that, Trace?
Crazy ones or the brilliant ones?
Well, yeah. I don't know. But Tracy's a school psychologist, so she's seen a few.
I'm happy to be crazy.
There you
Thanks,
go. Well,
Tracy.
you're totally crazy, my friend. Guys, you wouldn't be in this industry if you weren't a little off-center. You wouldn't be, Joe called them freaks and fringe dwellers, okay? I'm a proud freak. I'm a proud fringe dweller. You can't put me in a box. You can't tie me down. You can't stop me from being who I am.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Thank God.
This is our destiny, and this industry is just a beautiful vehicle. And you can go at it any way you want. You can pick the hot program. You can pick the stable program. It all depends on your temperament. It all depends on your way. But the bottom line is, until we learn to control ourselves, until we learn how to manage our mind, until we learn that our job is to bring up other people. See, everybody's busy trying to get something from people. My philosophy is you got to give something to people.
That's right.
Crazy, I know. But it's worked out pretty well for me. They keep asking me to talk, and they keep giving me money, and they keep doing stuff. And before we get off the line, Kathy and I just got home from a dream weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Kathy, 3 years ago, tell them, 3 years ago, what was going on in your life and what's happening now?
3 years ago, I was in foreclosure. I was 2 weeks away from losing my house. 3 years ago, I was able, from a couple of sources, to borrow the money that I needed to borrow to keep my house, to keep my roof over my head, which put us even further in debt. So I found myself, honestly, $77,000 in personal debt. That wasn't even counting my mortgage.
You beat me. You're show
I
off. You never told me that. You beat me.
know.
Thought my story was good. So what'd you do this weekend, Kathy? What'd you do this weekend?
What did I do this weekend? Oh, gee. Let's see. Friday morning, I got up and I showered and packed my bag. Over to Detroit and flew to Vegas.
Yeah.
And met my best friend in the VIP lounge, and we freshened up and we went to see Barbara.
Kathy flew to Vegas for 36 hours to see Barbara Streisand.
Yeah.
Was limoed around town. And
VIP suite, VIP everything, and 3 years ago, I didn't know what I was going to do. It was so
awesome.
dark in my life 3 years ago.
yes,
Diane,
Trace, yeah.
we see your screen.
Uh-oh, that's bad. I'm just thinking that people need the numbers.
Oops.
Tracy, see, guys, this is why I keep Tracy Housel around. She watches after me. Sorry about that. If I revealed you, first of all, the person that I just revealed I love dearly and was a partner from the other side during all of this time, and doesn't know how much I care about them and how much I appreciate them for being a good friend and a really good person. Kathy, I'm sorry I ruined your story.
Oh, no, that's okay. That's okay. I was, you know, my story got ruined when I changed my mind because all of a sudden I realized that, well, you said it earlier, I was at the scene of every crime. I was the one that made the bad decisions. I was the one that made the wrong moves, and it was up to me to do things a little differently. And I'll tell you what, you know, that second set that Barbara did with that beautiful coral dress, Diane.
Yep. Guys, think about it. How great is it to be able to call someone you love up and go, hey, by the way, I just got tickets that nobody can get anywhere, and I want you to go, and to watch them run around the house screaming and yelling and getting excited. I've done it multiple times in the last couple of years. I've had the privilege of being able to do that for people. And let me tell you something, and we'll close with this, and I'll remind you guys where to get the info if you want to come hang out. I haven't even set up a link and stuff I need to do. So emotional about all this. But, guys, if you change things, Wallace Wattles, the author of The Science of Getting Rich, talked about if you didn't have enough money, you were unfulfilled. Because, and he talked about men because of the time period that he wrote at, but a man who couldn't provide gifts and things for his family, a man who couldn't give from his heart as he saw fit, that he was an unfulfilled man. And the reason why we all have the right and the birthright to be rich is because we were born to be. We were born to have infinite resources and infinite money so that we can enhance our mind and our spirit. If you can't travel and see the world, you can't be all that you were born to be. If you can't afford the books that you want to read, you can't be all that you were born to be. If you can't lavish things on the people that you love, surprise them, take them magnificent places that other people can't experience, you're not fulfilled. Being wealthy is what gives you the ability to become all that you were meant to be. And no matter what spiritual background you come from, and I'm not getting into all that tonight, but God wants you to express yourself and be all that you were born to be. And that's why he's given you vehicles and venues to create prosperity. I'm not talking about getting rich and just money. I'm talking about prosperity. Prosperity is having those things to enhance your spirit and engage with the people you love.
It's so much more than money, Diane.
Yep. Well, that's it. That's it, because when I was asked, how much money do you want to do these calls, I said, I don't want any money. I want the minds of the people. That's what I want. Change your mind, change your income, change your life. I want the minds of the people. I don't want to possess them. Okay, I don't want to call people wussies. I don't want to do any of that stuff. But I would like to help people. Couldn't help it. Hi, Bobby. Couldn't help it.
That got my attention.
Yeah. But that's it. So what I have to do right now, guys, again, Diane at DianeHochman.com, or if Kathy or Bob or Vanessa, or whoever invited you here, just ask them. I didn't, I'm not going to even discuss the whole thing tonight. I'm just going to get on the phone with you guys. I got to email some of you guys back, so I'll jump on the line. I'll be there in a few minutes. But I'll explain what's going on and what the options are for you, and then we'll probably plan a follow-up call. What I don't want you to do is make decisions without looking at everything, and what I love best about this particular organization that I'll be working with. And again, let me reiterate, because I know people are wondering, I am not leaving the programs that I am with because I think they're great programs. I am not changing my direction. In fact, if anything, I'm hoping that people will get so jazzed up with this environment that it will cause them to do more business in the programs that we're with, etc. And I am not asking you to change anything. Those of you that loved the march and remember it, or those of you that know of my old calls, have listened to them and have heard them and want to be a part of that environment, please do. You are welcome. But do not stop doing what you're doing, especially if you got something that you love. I know a lot of you guys are with great programs, okay? That's not my intention, my purpose, or my desire. My desire is to help you be more of who you were born to be in the venue that you were made for. And everybody was made for different venues. There's some venues that I see and I look at them and I go, wow, I wish I could do that. I dig it. I could be making a boatload of money over there, but it doesn't make my heart sing. And then there's others that I look at and I go, I love that. I'm into it. You should be the same way. So I'm going to go. We'll jump on the line, but I'll be emailing you guys back, those of you that emailed me. For the rest of you, I want to express my deepest gratitude for your support over the last 6 years. Of course, we'll be out and I'll be doing different webinars. We're going to be doing some different training classes and stuff like that, but it won't be this consistent every week type of thing. I appreciate all of you. If there's anything I can do to help you, let me know. And as always, a lot of people, if they email me or something and I don't get right back to them, used to be back in the day I was dealing with a couple hundred people, okay? Now I'm dealing with hundreds of thousands. It is never my intention to not reply to anything. If you miss me, scream a little louder, okay? Don't think she doesn't listen to me, she doesn't care. Believe me, I care more than you will ever know. More than you will ever know. And I agonize about not being able to do it all. But that's part of the price I pay for having a larger platform and a larger voice and being able to touch more people. I pay the price of not being able to be with everybody all the time. If you need me, you got to shout. I'm here. Just shout. Okay? Jump up and down, put capitals, write ridiculous headlines. Leave me 17 voice messages until I finally have to call you back. You all know how to do it. Okay?
You guys think that she's joking, but she's not.
Oh, no, I'm dead serious.
I think I've done all the above at one time.
Get a hold of Kathy Heath or Tracy Housel and go, she never responds to me. Believe me, I'll hear quick.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, all right. Let me go reply to you guys. We'll jump on the phone line. And everybody, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I hope to see you on some of the calls. I hope they're helpful to you. I hope some of the things we've covered here over the years, the marketing ideas, the mindset, all the concepts we've done, I hope they have been helpful to you. If they have been, I'd love your testimonial, your shout out, if anyone wants to say something kind. I never ask. It's just not my way, but if you want to, I appreciate it because it would help me to help more people. But that's it. So that's it. This is the end of Webinars Gone Wild. This is a wrap. It's been a ball. and who knows what we'll come up with next, because I intend to be here for another 6 to 12 to 15 to 20. So thank you to all of you, and especially thank you to those of you that were over here on the moderator line. You have a very special place in my heart, all you guys. So we'll see you in a little bit if you guys are coming over. If not, have a great night. I appreciate y'all.
Thanks,
Thanks, Diane.
Thanks, everybody. Good night, Diane.